Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to take a little walk outside and enjoy nature and talk about healing, but I'm sorry to say where I'm at right now, it's about 20 degrees. So I don't know if you can see the snow and stuff. It's very cold. So instead, I'm gonna give you all this beautiful view of the hill, and there's some trees here, and you can see the sun is actually peeking through, which is awesome. It's so beautiful. So I hope everyone is doing well today. I did a little short video yesterday for Valentine's Day, talking about how I have been guided to share some information in reference to the healing process that we all are going through. It's one thing I definitely want to say about this is what I'm sharing and what everyone should always take away is there's not really a set rule guidebook. It doesn't really work that way. All of our journeys are different. All of our experiences are different. So it's kind of like what happened to me after I went through my awakening and I was dealing with some pretty massive, dark night of the soul and just a lot of things to heal. You know, I read a lot of books. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I listened to podcasts. I kind of took little bits and pieces that resonated with me from all those different things, because one person's experience of what is, works for them, or, what happened to them is not going to exactly match up with your journey, what you're going through, and what's happening, for you. Your journey is your journey, okay? So always, in the case of everything, regardless of what it is that you are reading, watching, and I'm one of those people, I'm always, searching out, information and truth for everything. But whatever it is, my friends, always please take what resonates with you, and you'll know what does, because it will click. It will click in that moment, and you'll be like, yes, that's that piece of information I needed. Or someone will share something and you'll be like, good grief, that's like what I just was going through. And it will resonate and mean something to you, at that time that you need it to. So I just want to preference, what I'm going to be sharing, that this is my personal experience, okay? And just for anybody really to just take from it what is meant for you, okay? Even if, my thought for all of this, no matter what I'm sharing, whether it's a tarot reading or just anything in general, is even if one person walks away with something that is helpful to them, then it's good. You know what I mean? It's the things that we do in this life, you all, the things that we do to help uplift one another, that we share, it's not for nothing, okay? It never is. That love that we put out there is never ever wasted. A lot of times things don't work out, the way we hope they will, or the way we plan, but there is a bigger plan, and that's what we have to keep in mind. So this video is intended for anyone. I know a lot of times it's just going to be, I look at it this way, whoever needs to see it, that's who's going to see it, or whoever needs to hear it, that's the individual that's going to hear it. But I did just want to preference to say this is my personal experience. So take only what resonates for you, take away from it only what you need to hear, okay? And then leave the rest for someone else. That's the best way to approach anything that you're doing. And it's like, I never go to just one source of information. The only time that's overridden is when I'm literally going to the source. I'm going to, the divine creator to get information. Then that overrides everything, obviously. But when I'm in my 3D world, right, searching for information, I never go to just one source. And I think it's, like I said, because we are all the same. We are all part of our divine creator, but we are, we are in these human bodies. We are a soul basically having a human experience. And so all of our experiences are different, and they are meant to be different, right? It's not meant to be all the same. Otherwise, what in the world would be the point of it? So this is meant to really kind of just share kind of the steps that I've been going through. So I can tell you, okay, it's been a few years. I had an initial what I like to call mini awakening. And this was now, like 30 years ago. And then some things in my life changed and I kind of shut it down. And then I was triggered a few years ago into my massive full-blown awakening. And, you know, everyone comes to their awakening differently. Some people, it's spontaneous. And for a lot of us, it's more trauma-based is how it happens. You know, that's how we are triggered. So for mine, it definitely was more of that case, but the healing part is something that is beyond crucial for us, because once we're awakened, our eyes are open, right? Our eyes are open, our ears are open. We're seeing things we've never seen before. We are knowing things, right? That third eye pops up, your intuition's all over the place, and you are paying attention and being present and seeing the world through completely different eyes. But in order to kind of maneuver and move forward in our awakening, we absolutely have to heal ourselves and our traumas, because those traumas lock us into very, very negative karmic and unpleasant cycles. So for me, it's kind of like I am one of those people, you know, I've spent a lifetime of just working hard, doing. So, you know, once I'm on board the awakening train, I'm just like, okay, I want to jump in and do my healing and get this done. It doesn't work like that. It's as long as we are here, it is going to be an ongoing process. However, we can get to a beautiful place where it's taken me quite a lot of time and a lot of work to get here, but you do reach a place where you are, I promise you, in a place of unconditional love and peace. It is just so peaceful. And how you know when you get there, because a lot of times I kept thinking, oh man, I'm doing better, and then something would trigger me. So that's the thing. A lot of people will say, okay, how do I know if there's something that I need to heal, right? Or whatever. Or, okay, I've healed a whole bunch of stuff. I feel like I'm pretty much done, which actually happened to me at one point. I was like, man, it's been a motherload of healing. I feel pretty good. And then months later, something literally hit me out of the blue. And it wasn't even from this current lifetime. Sometimes we are healing, guys, generational things, okay? And things going back other lifetimes and stuff. So you'll just kind of be surprised how things can hit you out of the blue. But back to the original beginning of this portion is that how you know you need to heal things. So here are just a couple little things that can be big red flags that you need to heal something. Is if you get triggered by something, okay? If somebody says something, or there's an attitude, or you see something and it triggers in you any of the lower slash, you can call them negative, I just call them lower. It's not, you know, we're vibing high and then there's lower energies, right? Lower vibrations that pull us down. So if you get triggered into a lower energy by something, by someone, by something that's said, something you hear, something you see, then you absolutely know there is something attached to that, whatever that thing is that triggered you, that has to be healed. And I'll be honest about my own situation. There were, you know, a lot of the things that we heal first are those things that kind of are floating up at the top, right? Because they're the most obvious, and they generally are quicker to heal. The things that are problematic and take a lot of time and a lot of energy, because it takes energy to do this healing, are the things that we bury. And these can go back to childhood traumas. It can be anything, but there are things that, and we do this across the board. This is one thing as humans we really do have in common, is that we just like to push things down. Don't want to deal with that right now. I will push it down. And as long as I don't see it, right, I don't have to deal with it. Well, it just doesn't work that way, because subconsciously and energetically, all those things that we push down, that we have not healed because we didn't know we needed to, right? That's the truth of it. We just didn't know we needed to. We're like, okay, this is in the past. I'm putting it behind me. I'm moving on, but we don't heal it or release it. So every single thing over a lifetime, and in some of our cases, many of our cases, lifetimes, we have pushed down things. We have carried them with us energetically and subconsciously. We have carried things with us that should have been let go and healed long ago, but we didn't know to do it, right? We didn't know to do it. I mean, we've been kind of kept very much in the dark of things, but that's part of the awakening, is to bring things to light, to bring it to the forefront, and to deal with these things so we can move along and we can be what we are supposed to be, okay, so that we can help uplift one another. But we can't do it if these things are dragging us down and holding us back. So triggers. So if something triggers you, that's a good sign you got to heal something. Also, if you seem to have and many of us, I will put this little caveat in there, many of us who are empaths, we are very sensitive, okay, and can tend to be a little more emotional anyways. But I will tell you, if you find yourself just kind of crying a lot over something in particular, let's just say that you see, and we're sensitive souls, so you know, we're going to feel things. We just feel things deeper. But if you just notice you're crying a lot over the same kind of sad commercial over something, there is a good chance there is something in your background attached to that that needs to be healed. And for some of us, it's a little more obvious. It might be, you know, we are literally holding on to grief from losses. And please let me give you empathy, because I have lost people very close to me. So I understand it. I understand the process, and I understand how in the 3D societal world that we live in, you are meant to push through that, push along, push it down, get over it. You know, there's not a lot of patience with people really going through a good healing process. It's kind of a very topside thing that we do, right? It's very surface level, just to kind of be like, okay, I went through, you know, the 3 or 4 processes of normal grieving, I'm good. But really, most of the time, that's just not the case. We hold on to stuff. And how you know is, instead of always thinking of, you know, that individual with like joy and happiness and remembering the good things in their life, you don't. You cry, you miss them, and it is a hard thing when that's not how it should be. So that's just a little handful of things that just to get us rolling, because there's going to be a whole bunch of different videos I'm going to be doing, and I really want to get to the 4 main points to get us started today. So, but that's it, because I know a lot of people are kind of like, well, how do I really know what I need to heal? And the other thing I do want to, let me throw this one in there real quick, is repeating cycles. Good Lord, thank you, God. This is one for me that was big. I would repeat cycles with people that were the same type of cycle, which was very imbalanced, you know, very toxic things. And this is another sign that you have something you need to heal. And a lot of those things have to do with self-worth, right? They have to do with our overall, how we feel about ourselves, okay? And a lot of that has been sort of created and structured from early childhood and things like that. And it's stuff that absolutely needs to be healed so we can step into, you know, our true divine power. So it's like, these are all things that we can over time take a look at and heal. I would say one big main thing for anybody going through healings right now is please don't rush the process, okay? Because it's something I tried to do, okay? I tried to do that in the beginning because I was like, I really want to get through this part. That's just a horrible mistake and will blow up in your face. So my suggestion is as things come up, or as you know that you need to deal with them one at a time, okay? Heal them and give yourself a chance to get through each of those things. That's really kind of like the main important part. Okay, so for me, again, this is all experiential, okay? This is based on my personal experience. There's 4 actions or 4 steps for me to get to do my healing. This is what works personally for me. Again, take only what resonates, because it's going to be different for everybody, but I'm hoping there will be some part of this that's going to be helpful to somebody else. So number 1, acknowledgement. And a lot of us don't want to acknowledge it. We, you know, especially after you've gone through the dark night of the soul and some of these other things, you want to be like, yeah, I'm good. I've healed my stuff. I'm good. Thank you. High five. No. Number 1, acknowledgement of, yes, there is something more, or there is still more things that will need to be healed. That's the number 1 thing, because the minute we close ourselves off and think that we are done, or that there is absolutely nothing left to heal, we're tricking ourselves. Okay, we're tricking ourselves as much as we would let someone else do it to us, and that's not a good thing. It's just hiding from what you need to do. It's like, you know, brushing something under the rug, and we can't move along that path to that beautiful unconditional love and that peace, you know, and all the abundance and everything, which is ours. It is our birthright for everybody, for all of us. We cannot move along that path to that when we're not seeing what we need to do. So number 1 is acknowledgement. You know, is acknowledging, yes, there's something that needs to be healed, and I need to see what that thing is. Okay. Number 2, acceptance. Number 2 is accepting whatever it is that needs to be healed. And for many of us, this can be a brutally difficult step, okay? Because, like I said, for some of the surface things that bubble up, like some of them will be heartbreaks and things like that, they will be a little bit quicker and a little bit easier. And I'm not saying the heartbreak or any of that stuff is easy. Let's face it, none of it is. If it was, we wouldn't have to heal it, right? We wouldn't have to heal it, guys. So it's accepting whatever it is. And sometimes some things are buried pretty deep. And I'll tell you how the divine works in my life is I'll go along and I'll be healing some things and I'll be feeling pretty good. I'm doing good. And then my creator will purposely have something happen that will trigger me on something that I didn't even know I had buried down in there. And you have to accept what it is. And part of accepting it is looking at it, like literally, whether you meditate, pray, or you just want to go stand out in the woods or sit in a car by yourself or sit in your room, be quiet, whatever it is you want to do. I will say, when you're doing this acceptance part, you need to have your privacy, everyone. My sweet friends, you need to have your privacy for this. You need to have a space in which no one is going to bother you at that point in time. And this can be hard for some of us with children and things like that. I do understand. If you got to go in the bathroom to have like an hour to just sit quietly by yourself, that's the thing to do. Whatever you need to do to get that quiet space for yourself where you can sit with it, because you need to be able to do this without interruption. Okay, because you're going to be, for some of this, it's very deep diving stuff. And generally speaking, you know, call on the angels or spirit guides, whoever it is that you're dealing with, and ask, you know, I just let them know. And they're watching over us. They're with us always. Okay, so just say, you know, I need help. I need the space to do this. And they'll help you. They'll help you have the time to do what you need to do. Okay, so acceptance, it's digging it up. looking at it, no matter how ugly it may be, no matter how painful, harsh, whatever it is allowing it to come up, accepting what it is, okay? Because I can tell you myself, there were some things, especially if it's things that's from your childhood or when you're younger or whatever. And for some people, it might be things, for some of us, that, we have a big responsibility in what happened. For some things in our lives, it isn't. It may be things that, were really done to us at a point when it was not within our control. But sometimes it's things where, we have a big responsibility in what might have happened to us. So it's taking responsibility for those things. If a responsibility needs to be taken, it's seeing it and accepting it and saying, okay, I might have pushed this down because I never wanted to look at this, but seeing it and allowing the emotions in that moment to pour forth. Allow them, accept it, allow it to come out of you. Just let it pour out. If you want to just sob your heart out for an hour straight, God bless you, sob your little heart out. Because I'm telling you, it is very cathartic, and you have to get it out. So accept it and just really, really, I don't know any other way other than saying, don't hide from it, because we do that. We do that with a lot of things. We push it down, and we hide from it. And the minute you accept it, yes, this is something that happened. This is something within me that needs to be healed. You are pulling it up to the light where you can heal it. So it's just crucial. It's just absolutely crucial to do it. Okay? Feel those emotions. Feel them. Get it out. Do not, however, sit in them too long. Okay? You want them to, just think of it like water running through a sieve. Okay? So you want it to run through you, right? All those trapped emotions, all the pain, all the hurt, anger, rage, whatever it might be, let it out. But again, you want to be by yourself. You do not want to inflict anything. That inflicting what you feel on someone else is not healing. That's not healing, okay? That's striking out, and that's a triggering thing. So you want to be by yourself. You want to let these things out in a healthy way, okay? And then once you've let them all out, you're on step 3. And again, this is from me and my experience and what worked for me. So then you're on step 3, which is release and surrender. And I love this step because you start feeling so good. Step 2, you feel a little bit like a wrung out dish rag, right? It's pretty brutal. It can be rough. And I'm giving everybody a great big hug for it, because I understand. And you can, when you're going through this, you can feel so alone in it. You can. But the key is to realize you are not alone, okay? Your Creator is with you and within you. Always. Always. That love, that beautiful unconditional love, is present and wrapped around you all the time. You also have angels and spirit guides who are with you all the time. We do not go through this alone, guys. We are never alone. Please, please, please. If you take nothing else away from this, please take that, okay? Please take that. So, number 3, release and surrender. I love this part. So, at this point, you've let it all bubble up. You accept it. You take responsibility. Now comes the important part. Forgiveness and release, followed by surrender. So what you do is, and for some people, I know what some people are going to say, because I used to be there and going to be like, you don't understand what this person did to me. You don't understand what happened. I can't forget that. I understand you, okay? I understand you. But I will tell you this, that forgiveness is for you, okay? The forgiveness is for you. Do you ask yourself this question? Do you want to spend the rest of this lifetime, and I don't know how many other lifetimes, dragging around the chain and cinder block of your past and your pain? Do you really want that? When it's completely unnecessary. And I can tell you one thing, you're gonna understand what I'm saying in a minute. When you say, and you mean it with your heart, because once you let these things out, it changes everything, okay? Once you truly, with your heart, say, I forgive everything, whatever that situation is. And for me, I had to do a lot of things. I forgive everyone who ever did anything to me. And I forgive myself for any part I played or anything I ever did to anyone else. And when you do that forgiveness and you mean it with your heart, all of the emotion that was attached to that is not there anymore. The pain part, all gone. You let it go and you say, I release this. I give this over to God. This is part of the surrender. I surrender all of this to God. I surrender to my angels to be transmuted. This is not my burden any longer. And you let it go. So what happens with this, and if you need to do it multiple times, you can do it multiple times. You can do it how many ever times you need to truly release it. Because I'll tell you what happens when you do. When you truly release it and surrender it, all of the emotions that were any sort of negative emotions do not exist. You can look back on anything that happened to you, and you can look back and literally look at it as some sort of lesson, okay? Or something that happened in your life that triggered you to do something else, to go in a different direction, whatever it might be, okay? But what it enables you to do is to look at any situation from your past that was painful to you, that was hurtful to you, that was traumatic for you in any way, and you can look at it with no pain, not that emotional attachment which is crippling to us. That's what it is. Let's be honest about it. It shapes what we do. It shapes the decisions that we make. You know, you get enough pain and stuff going, what do? As humans, we start throwing up the walls, we start doing this and that, and then we start laying down judgments on everyone that comes into our life. So let's say you got your heart broken 2 or 3 times, right? By someone. What is going to happen when another person comes into your life? Well, you're probably going to be like, I just had my heart broken 3 times in a row, so this is probably going to be more of the same. So before that individual might be nothing like the other ones, right? But the minute they step in, you're going to apply that to them because the past has not been healed. We just keep carrying it forward and applying it to everything and sticking ourselves into cycles that are absolutely unnecessary. And also carrying that pain with us, we don't need to carry. We don't. So I promise you, step 3 releases you from that bondage of the pain. The pain is gone. Now, that being said, let me back up one little step. Forgiveness does not mean that you forget something, okay? Forgiveness is forgiveness. It's what it is meant to do. It takes all that pain and weight up off of your heart. Okay? Now, you don't forget. It's like I always say in the tarot readings, we don't want, because I was famous for it, folks. I'm going to be honest. I had walls built so high and so deep, I don't even know what it would have taken someone to get over that wall. It wasn't happening. That's all I'm going to say. And God had to be like, you need to reel this in. That's enough of that. So it's like, I had to learn, and I had to learn it a viciously hard way. I'm going to be brutally honest. It was horrible that I could not just give and be open and loving and trusting and have no boundaries in my life, because every time I did it and, you know, got taken advantage of or hurt, my survival instinct made me throw up walls, guys. Walls, 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 like you can't imagine. So now God, has helped me, like, heal these things, have a new perspective on how to move forward in a way that is healthy for you, so that you don't look at everyone and immediately be like, okay, walls up. No. So now I have learned about, like I talk about in the tarot readings, boundaries. Boundaries are a good thing. It's like, many of those painful things, you all, that we go through them so that we can learn what we don't want, right? Or what we will not allow in our lives, to put those boundaries up. And a boundary it's what I say, a wall is a wall, right? It's a huge, great big, huge wall, and it blocks everything. So not only does it block all the negative things, or the painful things that we don't want, but it also blocks all of our blessings. And that's the last thing that we want. You don't want to block out love coming into your life. You don't want to block out your abundance coming into your life, right? You don't want to block joy out, because that's what we do when we throw up those walls. And the walls are what we put up when we have not healed something. So it is so imperative that we do this healing for ourselves. And again, what we do for ourselves, we do for everyone else. We are all connected, whether you know it or not, whether you want it or not, whether you like it or not. It's just the truth, guys. So what you do for yourself, you do for everyone. What you do for one person, you do for everyone. So we need to have the boundaries, which is a line in the sand. It's the line in the sand that says the minimum that I expect from any kind of interaction is respect. This equal give and take in these things. And the minute someone steps across the line in the sand and they are not respecting your boundaries, then they don't need to be in your life. It's like people and things, and you will notice this along your path of awakening. This is one thing we all have in common. And I can say this like universally from everything I've heard from everybody, is that, once you start going through this awakening, your divine creator is going to pull things out of your life that are no longer serving you, that are no longer part of the path that you are now on. And that is people, places, jobs, things. I mean, it runs the gamut, guys. You can end up moving house. I mean, I'm an awesome example of that. I could tell you everything. People, jobs, home, everything. Your life changes, but it changes so that it can be better, and you can be, everything in your world, my friends, can be in alignment with who it is. You really are who you were always meant to be, and who you're going to step into being. You're going to be able to live a life where it's going to be about your joy. It's going to be about fulfilling what you came here to do, and loving your life and loving yourself. So, step 3, release it and surrender it. And you will feel like, for me, it's like cinder blocks are lifted up off of you. Some people use the analogy of chains, being released from chains and things. And it's whatever applies to you is what applies to you. But the main thing is, when you release it and surrender it, there is no more pain attached. There's no more emotion attached to it. I can look back at things now that before I couldn't even pull them up to look at them. I'm going to be honest with you all. I could not even look at them. I can look at them now and say, okay, you know what? I see the lesson in that. And before, where I may have felt some really horrendous negative feelings toward another individual, I don't feel any of that. I literally can sit there in my space of peace and feel unconditional love for everyone and everything. And this is how you know that the divine is working deeply in your life, because your perception is so altered, you cannot even imagine it. So, step number 4, the last step. And again, this is just my experience, guys. So this is probably not going to be anything like you're going to hear maybe anywhere else. But this is what works for me. So you take whatever pieces or part might mean something to you and create your own steps that work for you, because every single person is different. So please, you know what I mean? Look at it that way. So step number 4, and this is just as important as all the other steps, although some people may want to like skip through it, which I tried to do. That's a no-no. Step number 4 is cleansing, grounding, and resting. And it is so important, you all. I'm telling you what. And many of you that have gone through like back-to-back healings, major healings, the dark night of the soul, you know exactly what I am talking about right now. That it takes a massive amount of energy to heal something. And the further back you go, the larger the wound is, the more the pain or emotion that you have attached to it, the larger the amount of energy that was attached to it, the more energy it takes to heal it, okay? So when we come through these healings, we do need to take a little time out. And I can tell you, I tried to skip that part. And I'm laughing now because you all don't know me, but I can tell you I was the kind of person where I had to be going all the time. I had to be doing something, always productive, working, you know, throughout my life, working 2-3 jobs at one time, just doing, taking care of everybody. That's just like my normal momentum. So to say that God literally plucked me out of my life and put me in timeout is no exaggeration. And to say that I tried to fight it at first is no exaggeration. But then I, literally a week or so ago, I was just meditating and I said, thank you, God, so much for putting me in timeout. I needed to rest from all of this because I had what I would call a bombardment, guys, of healings that had to take place. And this is after doing the Night of the Dark Soul. This was after that. So it's been pretty an exhausting run. And your energy is so all over the place after that. It can be really zapped. And it's important for us to, for me, it helped to do, I have my Palo Santo, my sage candles. It helped to do salt baths. Also, a huge big one for me is grounding, just getting out into nature. Oops, here we go. I want to try and show the pretty sunlight to you guys. Getting out into nature, right? Just being in the woods, walking on the grass, being near the trees, the water, especially the water is just very, for me, it's soothing and healing. I really, really love it. So it's and taking a rest, a literal rest. If you are going through your day, you know, it's afternoon, say it's a weekend, you're not working or whatever your case may be. Many of us are kind of, I can tell you part of my whole awakening has been breaking out of the matrix and just kind of doing my own thing now. But it's literally, if you are at a point where you're I feel kind of tired, sit down, sit down, have a cup of tea, you know, or whatever, or take a little nap, or, you know, listen to some soothing music. Just, it's a reminder, you know, that my angels tell me, you know, sometimes you need to just be. And for a lot of us, because that's not the world, you know, we've been living in, the world we've been living in, you all, does not really encourage that. It encourages a lot of toiling and a lot of labor, but it doesn't really encourage, you know, just being. So sometimes it's a beautiful thing to surrender over, you know, to stop trying to fight the process and just be. And there is a lot of rest and re-energizing and healing that comes, because when we heal, we are going through a transformation. It is a huge transformation, and we will go through many, many, many transformations along our path on our journeys. So please don't skip that last part. Don't skip the cleansing, grounding, resting part, because it's just as important as all the rest. You're going to need it. And if you do go ahead and do it, then you're going to come out of it and it's going to be a really, really good feeling. It's going to be a process where, you know, your feet are firmly on the ground and you feel stronger, more empowered, definitely more grounded, and you feel so much more love and peace completely, that it will change your perception of everything each time. So that's kind of it, guys. I'm looking at the little clock here and we're inching toward 40 minutes. So I don't want to keep you too long, but those are my 4 steps, okay, that I use to do my healings. And You know, some people say, you know, when is it done? When is it done? I'm sorry I'm laughing because it's like, I was kind of there, I feel like I'm almost done. No, there's always something. There always may be something, but truly we can get to a point where we heal the major things that are holding us back. And that's kind of what we got to do right now with the shift in planets, you all, and everything that's going on. This is a really huge forward momentum time. It's like I talk about in my tarot reads, this is a year of harvest for many of us. We are going to be reaping what we have sown, but this is also a year where, you know, our divine creator, the plan is in place, and many of us, our soul tribes, we are going to start being brought together. We have purposely been kept apart because that's been part of this plan, but we are slowly going to be brought together, which I'm super excited. So, you know, some of you may be in that soul tribe, and, you know, who knows, one day we could all be standing together talking about this stuff, which would be just awesome to me. I would, with all my heart, I would love that. But, yeah, that's kind of it. It's like, this is a journey. We're on it. There's parts we have to do by ourselves, but we're never, never alone. Please know you're never alone. And we are on this journey together. A lot of our paths are going to be crossing, and I'm super happy and I'm super excited about it. So I am going to be doing a few more videos about healings and get kind of dig down into the topics a little bit more. If there's any other like points or things that I've missed, I'm just kind of doing this on the fly, guys, or other things you'd like to hear about, you know, please post in the comments and let me know, and we'll talk about it. So I just want to send everybody so much love, so much peace and unity, and just great big hugs. That I hope you all have an awesome, awesome day. I wish everyone blessings and the very best on their journey. Take care and stay well, and I'll talk to you all again. Bye-bye.